turn on my video. Yeah, Kraken probably has to do that.
Give me a second. Let me change this.
I'll just be AFK for 2 minutes. Okay, I'm the host now. That's nice. Yeah, should be visible.
Did it work?
Ah, yeah, it works. My camera's out.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Aravinth. Anshit here. Can you hear me?
Hi, Anshit. Sorry, just it's a huge conference. The other one had to find a
Yeah,
spot.
yeah.
Finally found, but there will be a little bit of noise from the other
Oh, that's fine. That's
stages.
perfectly fine.
Yeah. So I have the slide presentation, and it's in PDF. So I'll just share it from my computer. Is it okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That should be fine. We will be beginning in about a couple minutes, so I'll let you know when we start.
Okay. So can we test already? Like if we can share this?
Sure.
Yeah.
You should be able to share now.
I'm not able to also start my video. If you can just enable it.
Yeah. Sorry.
So sharing needs to be enabled. Is the sound okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Can you try again?
Yeah. No, so it's saying it's blocked. I mean, I can share, but not the video. It's also blocked. But I can share now.
Okay, yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
But I couldn't.
Oh, the video is still. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I see you. Great. Great to see you. So
good to see you. Yeah. So much chaotic all this organization, but it's always like that, you know. No matter what, how you plan.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you were flexible enough to join us beforehand. So yeah, like that. Kudos to you for joining. That's really awesome on your part.
Yeah, it's actually a very big event here. It's like pretty much every big leaders, you know, celebrities, and all of them are here, you know. And, after a long time in this, you know, it was supposed to happen last year, the one summit in Munich, and they moved it here. So around 700 people are here offline and 2,000 people online, and so it's pretty big event for bigger people usually.
Yeah, I hope you're having fun there. And yeah, I'll just start with a brief introduction about Aravinth. So welcome everyone. Today is the kickoff of the Biocode Network Summer Conference 2021. So we're starting with the talk by Aravinth Panch. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. So Aravinth is a social and tech entrepreneur who is empowering underprivileged communities to solve local environmental challenges using very grassroots level innovations. So his work is very down to earth and towards the grassroots communities. And he has founded over 7 organizations that advocate for sustainability and which are actively developing innovations and technologies to protect the various ecosystems on this planet. So without taking too much of your time, I'll just let you speak for yourself.
Thank you for the introduction, and sorry, a little bit of background noise here. And I'm currently in Munich at the One Young World Summit. It's the gathering of global leaders and presidents and you know, like celebrities and Nobel laureates to how to empower youngsters to solve the global challenges. And it's very aligning for our talk today, my talk. And thanks for the organizing team, Anshit and Candice, and a lot of other people behind this organization by God Network Summer Conference. I hope you can see my screen. So today I'm going to share about a little bit of a story about how science and social work or social entrepreneurship, social mission can combine together to solve the greater challenges rather than a corporate trying to solve some socioeconomic or environmental challenges. So today we're going to see one about my organization as well as one of the projects that we have worked, which is very relevant for God Network. So I just want to check with the team, is everything okay? The sound, screen, everything is fine?
Yep, we see everything fine. That's
okay,
perfect.
Okay, perfect. So what is DreamSpace Academy? Who are we? So we are basically a non-profit organization. We really wanted to tackle socioeconomic and environmental challenges, but through a certain very specific model through challenge-based learning and grassroots innovations and building impact ventures. And why we want to do that, So it starts with everyone, like here probably have a certain story why you want to do what you do, So I was born in a war zone in Sri Lanka and grew up there in a very difficult time, and where my family were, like a lot of them were collateral damages, killed in the war. And then at the age of 14, I was forced to be a child soldier, so I have to flee to another country alone. Ended up alone from the family, and family in each of us, family ended up in different countries, and I became all of a sudden a refugee. And when I was a child refugee, I was not allowed to go to school. I was not allowed to even, have a bank account. I was not allowed to even stay in a place because people would call me a child terrorist or whatever. And then I went through this time, and then when the war ended in 2009 in Sri Lanka, I went there to Sri Lanka in 2010, and I saw that 3 decades of this war has caused a huge impact in the socioeconomic and environmental ecosystems of Sri Lanka. As you might know that, every international aid is operating in a lot of countries in the global south, but, their solutions, their important solution couldn't solve these local challenges very sustainably because they have been always giving things for free. And people, when you give it for 30, 40 years and they get, they become lazy and they are not creative enough to solve their challenge. So for me, when I was, growing up, 24 years of my life as a war child and a child refugee, taught me one thing that, the only thing that I can solve, if I have to solve things in my life, I have to solve it myself. I cannot wait for the Superman to come and help me. And that same methodology I want to apply for a lot of challenges that we face locally. That's how we decided, okay, we want to do, empower locals to solve local challenges. So we really want to achieve the sustainable development goals, but just not by limited by one thing. We really want to, empower the underserved communities from the war-affected regions, protect the environment, and facilitate peace building because it's, the war ended 10 years ago, but we still have to keep doing that for some time and build that sustainable startups for economic growth. So at DreamSpace Academy, we have 2 types of verticals. One is in our business side where we find ways to generate. We are a nonprofit organization, so we don't want to be relying on someone else funding money purely. And we really wanted to generate the cash flow that's necessary for us to do a social mission. So as you see that we have these type of vertical, and majority of the work, the time that we put is in this model called personalized empowerment. This is something very unique to us, and we have actually developed this model. We also call it as the DreamSpace Lifecycle. I'll quickly go with the, it's a 5-stage process, and I would quickly go with the success story, how it's happening. So in Sri Lanka, if you look at it now, there is usually a certain gap between they finish the school and they can go to university, around 2 years, because there are not much places for people to go and study, and there's not enough opportunities in the country because it's an island and it's known for tea and tourism. So what we do basically, we identify youngsters from this vulnerable society at the age of 18 when they finish the school, and we adopt them for 2 years under this life cycle program. So adopt means that some of the candidates, we have to completely take care of their accommodation, food, and everything. We have to take the permission from their parents, and then we bring them in. So how do we identify these candidates or the change makers? Here we have Sanjeevan. When he was in the school, he was promoting the environmental protection and he was walking from the north to the south tip of Sri Lanka to promote national peace. And, so it shows that the candidate has all the motivation to solve socioeconomic and environmental challenge, but candidate does not have enough technical expertise or whatever necessary knowledge that's necessary. And also an infrastructure in a country like Sri Lanka to create innovation to solve these challenges. In that, once we identify those candidates, change maker, we bring them in, and then we have this second stage where we train them, from social like storytelling, non-technical parts to the technical parts like electronics, mechanics, biotechnology, space tech, nanotech, and all the way. We have around 14 labs with the multi and interdisciplinary training based on a challenge. So everyone whom we identify has a challenge from where they come from in Sri Lanka. For example, some candidates come from a borderline village where there's a high incidence of human wild elephant conflict, like 85 people a year die in Sri Lanka by that, and 400 elephants we lose by human wild elephant conflict. It's a huge number. So in Sanjeevan's case, he's coming from the coastal region, so it's the ocean-related issues, water-related issues is the challenge. So we design, that's why it's called personalized empowerment. We change the whole training program into the challenge-based, and then it becomes a challenge-based learning. And in the third stage, what we basically do is identify what domain that candidate wants to work in lifetime, his or her lifetime, because in Sri Lanka, we don't have much disciplines in the universities to study, and then people don't even know what they can, what's possible in the outside world. And once we identify the domain, in this case, we identify it's water, and this is our hometown. What you see, it's in the east coast of Sri Lanka, in the middle of Indian Ocean, surrounded by large mass of water, backwaters and the ocean, and we have a very huge diversity, biodiversity there. But the challenge, and once we identify what is the domain the candidate want to work, and what we basically do, we identify what are the challenges that candidate can solve right now in that domain. So that's why it's again challenge-based grassroots innovation. So we have a lot of issues in the biodiversity. So our town is the city is called the land of singing fish, because during the colonial time, BBC colleges recorded a certain songs from these backwaters that certain type of a fish making kind of a noise altogether. It sounds like a song. And we have a lot of very native species of manta rays and sharks and seahorses and the seagrass, which is very trapping 20 times more carbon than an Amazon forest. We are losing them all for several reasons. Poaching is happening, industries are appearing during the war and so on. So we need to protect it, and this is the challenge. And for that, we need some form of a technology or solution that can collect this data and give to the government or to the conservation organizations. So that's how we came up with the solution. Okay, we need to build an underwater glider, which is similar to a submarine, which can collect different data like a nitrate and phosphate leakage from the agricultural runoffs in the backwaters, or either we take photographs of the coral reefs in the ocean and things like that. The candidate is developing that based on an open innovation, further develop the open innovation, and then we help the candidate with all the technology, material, and fund necessary to develop that. The fourth stage is when we started, as I said, starting with 14 different disciplines and narrowing to water. And the fourth stage is identifying what the candidate really wants to do in his or her life. And when Sanjeevan's story, we started with water, oceanology, ocean biology, ocean mammal biology. And that's what he wants to work. So that's what in the fourth stage, what we do, we don't have all the experts in the country to train them. And then we bring in international expert scientists all around the world to come to Sri Lanka and stay with us and train the candidate on the particular thing. And once we have, and also what we do, we also present the whole story, because our story lab is preparing the candidates from the first stage to tell the story, create proposals for fundraising. And then when we presented this Sanjeevan's case to an international organization, this is in the middle of Atlantic Ocean. It's called Plakhan. This is the only research center inside the ocean, as you can see here. And they have all the equipment for underwater ocean exploration. And they have also underwater glider, which costs 200,000 euros. And our underwater glider costs 2,000 euros, 100 times cheaper than that. And it's open source, reproducible, maintainable, and anyone in the global south can, easily take it and build it. So Sanjeevan is the only one who got selected to go there without having any formal educational background in oceanology and to understand this thing. And then that's how it's the fourth stage. The final stage. Okay, we have a knowledge, we have things, we have developed a prototype, but it's not enough. Sri Lanka is a country known for tea and tourism, so we need to know how to sell that. We need to make a business around it, whether it's a for-profit or non-profit. So in this stage, we train a lot on the business modeling, financial modeling, company formation, legal, whatever it is necessary for this candidate to have an organization on his or her own, and then go and pitch the solution to different international and national startup competition, and also validate the technology with the relevant stakeholders. So Asha, as you see, she's the only marine mammal biologist of Sri Lanka, has an organization called Ocean Well, where she's protecting the blue whales. As you know, blue whales are the biggest organism in the world, and the biggest of all the blue whales are in the water, in the Sri Lankan waters. And to protect them, they have to collect a lot of biological material and then do a lot of tests. And Sanjeevan was this is how the stakeholder is validating. If they have a solution, something like that will help them. But of course, no one in Sri Lanka can buy a 200,000 euro glider. As you know, that we have a very serious situation now between India and Sri Lanka. This whole ship is burned, and then thousands of ocean mammals have been washed. Killed and in this accident, and we don't have a right tools to measure what's happening underwater. And of course, you can go take a helicopter, very expensive helicopter, and see from the top. So that's how it validates. When the project is validated by a stakeholder, we graduate the candidate, and candidate goes on to build his or her social enterprise or for-profit startup or initiative, and do that forever. In this way, we can make sure that we have taken the candidate from zero till hero. Even if we do one of these things, we cannot make sure that will end in success, because in Sri Lanka we don't have that infrastructure and facility. Currently, Sanjeevan is 20 years old. He's been with us for 2 years, and he has an organization called Ocean Biome, where he's developing ocean technology and ocean advocacy. And there are 25 people working for him who have been studying oceanology in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, when you study oceanology, you become a bank clerk. There's no place where you can become an oceanologist in Sri Lanka. So with this way, in a country where it's known for tea and tourism, we can also build that industry from ground up. So maybe in 15, 20, 30 years, people in this country, they don't have to look for opportunities outside, and we can create our own history and our own life, in this country. And this is the true peace building for us, rather than just giving things for free. So this is how we are working. This is how it happens. So as I said, like each and every candidate, each and every lab is different. As I said, we also have a bio lab, and I'm not showing all the different labs that we have. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we have combined this capacity of our open innovation to solve this global challenge that happened last year. As you know, that when the pandemic hit, the problem was not that, the global north was holding all the biomaterials, and they had the protocols. They are ready to give the protocols, whatever the WHO made a protocol, but we didn't have, the global south didn't have all the biomaterials necessary to even to start, scaling up the testing, the diagnostic thing, the molecular testing, RT-PCR based. So as I think this 1 year have taught a lot of people biology than they have learned in 20 years in school or whatever. But, because it's a challenge, right? Yeah, we are learning again. The real world is about learning in the challenge phase. So when we saw this challenge in last year, April, that, okay, we don't have many countries in global south, what are we going to do? So as you say, I have shown here, this is the WHO RT-PCR protocol developed in Robert Koch Institute in Berlin, and which was given to them. It's a very labor-intensive and a material-intensive and time-intensive work. Even in many countries, even in Sri Lanka now, if you have to do this, it will take a week to do this type of RT-PCR complete test, or the protocol, the assay that they have given. So it's not going to really work for a lot of countries where you don't have even a cold chain, and in the remote regions and so on. So we need to solve that all together with the perspective of the global south and the perspective of people underserved communities. So what we did, the Just One Giant Lab, probably there are a lot of people here who know about this organization, based in Paris, part of Paris, with Thomas Landry. They started an initiative. Okay, let's unite all the community scientists around the world to solve this challenge, as COVID-19 diagnosis and detection. And then we started working on this challenge early 2020, so it's March, April. So initially we were a group of a lot of organizations like us, and with a little bit of capacity and knowledge on the biotechnology, and then came together, and then we came up with a solution. So problem one, you need a heavy equipment because you need a PCR and the thermocycler, because you need to go for multiple thermocycling to do all this, PCR polymerase chain reaction. Second thing is you need those material needs to be in cold chain and in some kind of a freezer or whatever. Third thing is that how do you identify how easy it is to get this quantitative or qualitative results? And first itself is whether how do you extract the DNA or whatever the molecular material, whether using a swab or a spit or whatever it is. So we thought, and one of our team member who's from a GMO detective guy, is an Israeli researcher based in Paris. He has worked a lot on this plant biology to using this methodology called Loop-mediated isothermal amplification. So LAMP is a single isothermal amplification methodology where you don't have to cycle like a thermocycler, and you can pretty much have all your reagents and all the things as a master mix. And you just need one simple step of DNA extraction, and you can use a colorimetry or fluorometry by just using your open naked eye that you can get the results. It sounded very interesting for us. Okay, how can we change that into the SARS-CoV-2 variant? At the time, I don't know how many variants have we now, but at the time we were just calling it SARS-CoV-2, right? So there's so much of advantages of the isothermal amplification as it is, rapid, sensitive, specific, fast and la. But at the same time, it's really fast. It can start, amplifying in the primers itself. There was a lot of challenges in using LAMP, I think, before this COVID, a lot of things. And then we decided to fix those things so that we can make it, into the best and the fast rapid test kit available for the global south. And another thing, you don't need a PCR. You can put it in a hot bath or some kind of a device. You just need to run at 63 degrees Celsius. So you can use any kind of a device. This is available in any part of the world. Again, and for the results, we kind of had a solution using a simple LEDs, which can be just, €2 hardware, which you can put all this spit tubes there or like the conical tubes, and then you get a fluorometry or colorimetry, whatever it is, and you can just see through the eyes. And this is one of the work that we did, fixing that whole LAMP protocol. As you can see that we can also, optically do that. And the thing is multiplexing, right? They were like, one of the problem is it cannot be initially, it was not possible to multiplex multiple things into multiple variants into one test kit. So Quasar is one of the methodology which we use to multiplex multiple viruses or something like that into a solution. And last thing is that how do we get this test kit? Because we want to have the whole test kit under €2 and available for everyone in the world. So how do we actually can take it to the different parts of the world? So we need to cannot do the cold chain like how they do it now with the vaccine. So we wanted to lyophilize. We had the infrastructure in Paris, and then we could actually lyophilize it, powderize it, and send it the whole master mix, the magic mix to 8 tubes, and then different part of the world. And then you take a swab or like a spit, clean it and DNA extraction, and then, put it into that and keep it in a hot bath in 63 degrees Celsius. And then in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, you have some results. So this was the initial team that worked a lot in different parts of the world. And then at a certain point, we have to decide, okay, how we are going to do that makes sense for our region. For example, for in France and Europe, it was not an urgent thing to have a rapid test kit because it was available in other forms. And for us in Chile, in Cameroon, and Sri Lanka, we have to find an urgent way to do it. So the teams, we decided, okay, we have the core LAMP assay ready and it's working, so we can change and customize to our regions. So teams were divided and they kept doing, for example, Corona Detective went in as the initial plan. And the 1 hour test from Ellen from JenSpace, she's the founder of JenSpace and Biotech Without Borders in New York, and she went in another test kind of using this FDA-approved swabbing kit and then in a simple RNA process and then get a colorimetry results. There are challenges in doing colorimetry, as you know, that it's very sensitive to the pH. So if you eat some yogurt or something before that, it can affect it. And so they were working on it, and the whole results can be 60 minutes. And then another one, the Oakland Genomics Center, they went as a cartridge solution, again, Colorian one fixed solution, and they also really got it done. And then in Sri Lanka, we said, okay, what can we do in Sri Lanka? We got a lot of things we have to still sort it out. What is the fastest way to get that for Sri Lanka? We kind of came up with another solution. Let's do half LAMP, half RT-PCR. So we combined the RT-PCR and LAMP together to get what we want to do immediately as possible. So this was a team formed with the Sri Lanka Institute for Nanotechnology and Sri Lankan University of Sri Jayawardenepura, where they have a BSL2 lab, BSL2 or 3 lab, where they were testing all the patients, live patients, and then so we had that infrastructure. And now, as a community organization, we have to hand over this idea and this prototype to certified people to do, because we don't have that infrastructure at DreamSpace to do such things. Yeah. So what we did basically at our special assay at the Sri Lankan one, we call it the Corona Hunter. You take the swabs, it's the same as the same thing. The master mix is, it's having the LAMP mix, and then in a stage of instead of running into fluorometry or other type of a design, okay, I need to tell about this. We were also using the magnetic beads for the RNA extraction. There's a little bit expensive part of the material, but it was coming from India, from a company. And then the LAMP or the primer set was coming from New England Biolab. And then we mixed them all and made our own assay. And then we feed it into RT-PCR machine just to get, run, even just a single isothermal amplification, but on a single temperature, and also get a little bit of quantitative results here, so that we can use the results of the RT-PCR. And so in this way, what we can do is we can already use the existing infrastructure, RT-PCR machine in Sri Lanka, and get this solution quickly than really thinking first about the, how do we get to jungles, villages. So that was a very important aspect, because country was spending millions of money in importing those RT-PCR reagents and all the key reagents. So this is something about how we get, it's a simple RT-PCR methodology, but it's a mixed, the whole reaction is in our LAMP. And since we had access to the hospital with the BSL2, and we were able to test it with the clinical, the real clinical clean lab, and we were the only team in the whole group to do that, because we had the access. As you know, that it's a very challenging thing initially in COVID time, the initial early stages of COVID time, of the data protection and all that stuff. So we have tested, and we had a good result. That actually at the end it reduced 50%. I mean, it's not €2 rapid test kit, but it really reduced, for 50% of the cost, which we can save millions of Sri Lankan rupees, 100 million, something like that a month or something. And it's faster, 5 times faster than the other process, which took us like days. And we can use the existing machine, and we just have to source all those biomaterial from those suppliers outside of Sri Lanka. And we presented that to the government and last year, and then they were interested in, and because this is the first biotech solution which has been developed in the country, we applied and we went for the X prize. There's a $5 million prize, and we were selected as one of the semi-finalists, and all of us. And this is now what happened now after this is in May 2021, that we are in a stage that we got the GMP license, or good manufacturing practices, from the government to produce this Sri Lanka's first rapid test kit, which came from community organizations. And the community scientists have actually developed this and then helped a bigger institutionalized organization like SlimTech, Sri Lankan Institute of Nanotechnology, to product, get it production ready. So this is the whole story about the rapid test kit on our side. And of course, other teams, they have the other stories, and they have really grown in different ways and different things. And they got really a lot of approval and grants and so on. But still, the challenge is something that we are still sourcing a lot of the reagents and the material, the biomaterial from outside of Sri Lanka. So that is the another important aspect, that how are we going to do this forever? So we learn how to do that for the first time in Sri Lanka, in a country that's known for tea and tourism. And we can build our bioeconomy. And how are we going to do that forever? We cannot just be relying on someone supplying the biomaterials. So as you see, that this was the data in June 2020, that we already had 20,000 variations and mutations. And when you especially design those primers and you get those primers from the other regions, they are designed for their particular variant, or even if you get the primer designed and produced by another one, it is a challenge always. So how can we actually produce those primers and produce those enzymes locally? And this is the best part of the open science is a project from Dr. Jennifer Malay University, and they have this open bioeconomy project where they have been helping Embo Lab in Cameroon to self-sustain themselves to produce enzymes using this open enzymes and free genes project. There are more than 300 enzymes that you can get it for free. They will even cover your shipping costs and so on. And you get a free open material agreement that you can actually also, if you have the bioreactors, if you have the infrastructure, they will also help you to locally produce your enzymes so that, we can be completely independent of the supply chain, and then we can create a better bioeconomy in our small countries where there's not much happening otherwise. So that is how the open science is empowering the global south to touch those disciplines and industries like biotechnology. And this is mainly about my talk, and thanks for listening. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
So that was an interesting talk, Aravinth. I really enjoyed how open science has created the first rapid test for COVID in Sri Lanka. So that was really fascinating. We have a few questions from the audience in the Q&A panel. Can you access the Q&A panel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can access it. Yeah. So the first question: do you have any way in which you accept volunteers for students? I'm highly interested in that. Definitely yes. I don't know where you are based, but so basically, we are also non-profit organizations. All the volunteers all around the world, they take care of their travel to come to Sri Lanka, and from you land in Sri Lanka, we take care of your local transport and your accommodation and whatever you need. So today is 23rd, right? In 25th, in 2 days, there's a Dutch girl, 22-year-old girl. She's been moving to Sri Lanka for 6 months to work with us. So definitely, if you have any interest I've shown you only like some of the projects. We also work on so many other things like, hate speech mitigation, social empowerment in terms of women empowerment, so many other topics, not only environment. So we can definitely, would love to have you. And because Anonymous and Cindy, what kind of platform do you use to collaborate with so many people and organizations? And I can imagine there are so many bright men. So we have a certain way of, we call it the co-governance model. So we have adopted several co-governance model, like how we are working together. So there is a certain guidelines that we have, that everyone who is a volunteer, we are a flat hierarchy, and whoever it is, and we are usually, everyone is onboarded with those guidelines so that we are on the same page as everyone. So if you're interested, again, all of our process, all of our decision making, all of our guidelines are open source, and it's available in different platforms. We use it for that. For example, for task management, we use Trello. For the time management, we use like Clockify. For documents management, we use the Google Drives, and we use intercommunication, we use Slack. So all that we have said, and we have a certain onboarding process where we train people how to be, to align to that. So what is the process of getting GMP? I don't know if it's a question. It's a country to country question. So yeah. Again, you have it's also domain to domain. Medical device or medical product is different than doing other things. So I think it's a big topic to discuss. I don't know which part of the world you are asking this question. And how would one get started with volunteering? I just mentioned that, how people are working with DreamSpace is that we have a lot of mentors, and so we when people ask how do we support DreamSpace, so many ways. One is being your personal engagement. You can be volunteering, you can be part of, in many ways, you can be part of a project or something. Some people are impact investors. They say that I don't have time for, to train you, but I can give you some money. Some organizations are saying, okay, rather than giving you some money just like that, we want to work with you on a project. For example, last year, we proposed Australian aid that we can create 20 storytellers around ecotourism topic. And then we proposed this model of, not just teaching people, but like, starting with camera handling to storytelling till digital marketing and business formation, so that, we make sure that they are creating their intellectual livelihood. So that's one way. In some ways, just empowerment, like you can actually, connect us with, really interesting people and influential people and nominate and so on. So you can work, you can reach out to me, with the Untitled. We can share the contacts. You can find me in LinkedIn, Aravinth Panch, and you can ask like how we do. You can go to our website and all the details are also there.
Sure.
So
yeah,
what is
definitely.
the largest? What are the largest projects that have come out of DreamSpace? So again, none of them are industrial grade yet. I wouldn't say that. And largest projects, I would say as of now, two of them, and one of them I've shown you, Sanjeevan's ocean biome. Sanjeevan is now in the last 2 months interviewed by BBC 6 times in the last 2-3 months. Real, like not the regional BBC, but from the main. So it's one of the biggest organizations. 25 people are there in his team and doing ocean advocacy and ocean technology, this glider thing that, functional glider. So I would say that another one is the Trash for Trade, is a green economy project. It started as a project to empower people, or like to promote environmental and physical fitness awareness, that, you pick trash, and there are machines that you put it into the machine and you pedal them, it shreds them into plastic flakes, and then it goes to another machine that is melts them, and from the melting it goes to injection molding, hand molds, where you can actually upcycle something. And this was presented in many stages all around the world. Even the Sri Lankan Chamber of Commerce is asking, can we already produce such solutions for them? Again, it started as a community project and so on. Yeah. Are there any DreamSpace resources that are exclusively online? We have difficulty because we are not a top tier organization to do online. I don't know how to do microbiology online, but what we did in the last month, because we need to do that, because otherwise we are losing whatever our retention of our people. So we kind of made a hybrid model. So like majority of them, kind of that you can train online, and then for the lab work or whatever, machine building, electronics, whatever it is, you can, whenever there's an availability or possibility in this condition to do that. And we are, you can find it in our website, whatever we have in our GitHub, you will find every project, even if the biology project has been put there. If you can find the resources in GitHub, and also in YouTube, you will find a lot of our things, and LinkedIn, Facebook, and places like that. So yeah, these are the questions, and thanks for all these wonderful questions. Again, just get in touch with me, and we would be able to, again, anything has to be personalized. So you might have something that is very personal, and we need to just build that for you. And we are an open organization. As I said, flat hierarchy. It's a non-profit organization. It's not a profit organization. We do that so that it goes to our pockets, And so be a part of it. If you want to be to be a part of this mission to achieve sustainable development goals in multiple disciplines, I think this is one of the organizations in the South Asia region that you can actually reach out to.
Yeah, definitely. That's really great work, Aravinth. And regarding the platforms that you use, I'm not sure if you extensively use Discord or Slack, but I would recommend Discord for the organizational aspect.
Yeah, we use extensively. Definitely, we use Slack for everything. It's all integrated. Even our task management.
Yeah.
We created from Slack interfaces, and it's really helpful, and also to keep it clean, and to have an asynchronous decision making. So yeah, and definitely, I mean, many ways to do, many tools are available, yeah.
So that's great talk, Aravinth. I think that's all of the questions. I'll just check our Discord server to see if there are any more questions. Yep, I don't think there are any. I don't think there are more questions. That should be it.
Yeah. So I just want to I'm just going through the mostly our audience are probably in the Asian region. Yeah, Southeast and East and Asia, I think. Yeah, if anyone, I mean, we are open, and Sri Lanka is a country that you can go without visa. It's just an ETA. So it's so if you always have, even if you are like traveling for tourism, whatever purpose, just visit us. We are on the east coast of Sri Lanka, called Batikalo. Portuguese name. It used to be a Portuguese colony, and so we are welcoming. Like we are looking forward to having you, any of you, anytime.
That's great, Aravinth. I'll definitely visit Sri Lanka when I can. Not too
There's
far
one
from
question.
where I am.
Yes. There's one question about what are the biggest challenges that you guys face as an NGO. The best question. When you have a for-profit company, it's always revolve around your money as a growth, as a business, right? And then to earn that money, you do whatever you need to do, right? Your goal is to make money, and then you do something for that. In a social enterprise or an NGO, for example, if you really want to create innovation, the most of the struggle is solving people problems, social problems. The majority of the time that, it's still like, peace building, we will have still some form of a clashes, ethnic clash, religious clash, and stuff like that. So this is a big challenge, rather than you spend your time, valuable time in creating innovation, majority of the time you will, spend in solving the social challenges of people with whom you work. One example, right? We were asked to build some electromechanical stuff, and we are staying in a building with a little bit, at least 15 feet, 20 feet away from that there are neighbors. And then they complained to police that we are making noise and they couldn't watch their TV, So nothing is going to happen in this country if they don't watch TV. But like what we are trying to do is something very special, but still people wouldn't understand. And clashes, like, we have to take care of the ethnic differences. So we are minority that, Hindus and Muslims and Christians, all are minority in Sri Lanka. And especially from our, Muslim communities, there's not much educated people, so there's so much of work we have to do there in terms of the community, to build up the community and empower the community. So sometimes we would even have really wonderful talented people, they would drop out, they couldn't continue with that because some of their family member or neighbor told that, you shouldn't do that, you are more visible in media, you should, this kind of things, So it's always a social challenge. Or people problem is something that we need to deal with as an NGO. Second thing is that money is a problem for everyone, whether you are not an NGO or, whatever it is, a for-profit company, but this is one of the challenge. And also, second challenge is your team members. In companies, in for-profit companies, people work for money, right? They come and go. You cannot have such people in an NGO. They have to be truly, involved and believe in that mission of that social enterprise and NGO. Otherwise, it's not helping. To have people just think like working like 9-to-5 job, it doesn't work. Yeah, and there are many more. Yeah. Again, it's a human problem. Mostly, it's a human and social problem in NGO.
So yeah, there's one final question on our YouTube stream, which is, what is the sensitivity and the specificity of the test that is designed?
So I think I have shown in that, we have around positive agreement of 90 something. I mean, this is all a little bit sorry for that. It's an old data because now once we hand it over to Slintech as a proper organization, have a certification. So they might have a better data than that. But RT lamp itself is a very sensitive and specific thing. And it's happening. And also it's about like, about which part of the primers that you choose to amplify, right? And so a lot of these rapid test kits are being developed using RT lamp nowadays. So I believe that, it have a good acceptable thing. I'm sorry, I don't have the number right now because we handed over last year to Slintech. And they will be publishing a paper on IMED, International Med 2021, where we can actually see those things. And that's we are happy. We are not like possessive of what we started. The only goal is to get that to the people, and that's what we handed over to the team. And they got the license now to do it. That's the good news.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's the end of the questions. I don't believe we have time to take any more. So if people still have questions, you can always get in touch with Aravinth or DreamSpace Academy or BioCord. We'll put you in touch with his organization at any time. So thank you all for attending, and thank you, Aravinth, for taking time out from your busy schedule at another conference to present at our conference. That was awesome. That's really awesome on your part. Thank you again for joining, and we will be reconvening in about 17 minutes for the opening statement by me.
I'm happy that I kickstart the whole conference. I hope the story was good story to start and have a wonderful event. If I get a chance, I will have it. Otherwise, my colleague Chris Silva, he's the guardian of the biolab, and he's always present, and he's also in the Discord the server, so he would answer if you need. I mean, we are currently working on a mycelium project. I'm on a conference. I'm speaking, and so you can actually. We are working on different projects, which will be also, he can answer that. Okay.
So that's it. Thanks for joining in, everyone. We will see you soon.
Great. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.